Coming up, Jonathan and Christine travel to the Sea of Cortez, where they find huge schools of fish, playful sea lions, and whale sharks. Welcome to Jonathan Bird's Blue World.
The Sea of Cortez is a 700-mile-long body of water separating the Baja Peninsula from mainland Mexico. When famous underwater explorer and filmmaker Jacques Cousteau explored this area in 1987 for his television documentary The Legacy of Cortez, he dubbed it the world's aquarium for its incredible biodiversity and density of life. Above water, it's an arid desert region. But underwater, as we're about to discover, the sea teems with an incredible amount of life. Christine and I want to see it for ourselves, so we fly to La Paz in the southern part of Baja, a world-renowned diving destination. We begin our adventure at Carey Dive Center and meet Gabriel Vasquez Sandana, who gives us a quick introduction to the facilities and schedule.
The only mission is be happy.
We're staying at Villa Carey, a charming boutique hotel that Gabriel built just for his diving guests, and it couldn't be any more perfect. The next morning, Gabriel picks up his guests in the van. We head over to the marina where the dive shop is located. Our dive gear is already on board and ready to go. I don't think I've ever arrived on a boat to find my wetsuit folded and presented like this. With everything on board, we push off for our first adventure. We meet Chrissy Capilano, our dive master for the week.
So it'll take us probably about 45 minutes to get to Bang Bang, okay?
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Great.
Well, that makes it easier. For our first dive, we're doing a wreck, but as we will discover, it's what's on the wreck that makes it special. Heading down the line, I can see a sea turtle and a hazy shape. We've come during whale shark season, when there's plankton to feed them. But that means the water is not as clear as it gets during the summer season. Still, we have 30 feet of visibility, which is fine for most of the animals we're hoping to see. We poke around the wreck a little. This wreck, known as La Paz 03, was sunk as an artificial reef. And when we swim towards the stern, I can see that it's working nicely to attract marine life. It's a giant school of grunts. This massive shoal of fish hangs around this wreck all the time. It's the only reef-like structure on this featureless sandy section of seafloor. It's a bit surreal swimming through a wall of fish that surrounds us and moves with us. Christine just hovers as the fish swirl. They have nothing to fear from us, but there are predators here. Cornet fish are on the hunt. Don't ask me how they could possibly get one of these grunts inside that skinny little mouth, but there are enough cornet fish here that I don't think it's a coincidence. An amberjack has joined the hunt as well. To us, us, this is just a beautiful school of fish swirling around. But to them, this is a daily struggle for survival among predators hunting them. In an ocean increasingly overfished, where large schools of fish are becoming scarcer by the day, this big school of fish is a nice change. After a while, it's time to start making our way back to the mooring line. In the sand off the bow of the wreck, we find a bullseye electric ray. Less than a foot long, these little rays can generate an electrical current to stun small prey. They're not dangerous to divers at all. Biologists think the bullseye pattern is designed to look like a giant eye, fooling potential predators into thinking the animal is much larger than it is. But normally, predators won't see the bullseye because this little ray has another trick. Sneaky. Christy found the bullseye electric ray, and as soon as I got the shot focused and set up, it just went and buried itself under the sand so you couldn't see the bullseye. But I know that trick, so I wafted the sand off and I had a perfect shot, and as soon as I did, it buried itself in sand again. But eventually, persistence paid off, and it gave up and it let me just get the shot. We don't have far to travel for our second dive of the day, but along the way we get some company. Bottlenose dolphins. Soon we arrive at our next dive site. A popular dive called Swanee Reef. It's shallow and the water's a bit clearer than the wreck dive. There's a lot of hard coral and plenty of fish. A scorpionfish blends into the reef and stays very still, waiting for a meal. A puffer may be one of the cutest fish in the sea, with a derpy little face and spines used only for defense. These little specks on the reef are fish eggs. A female sergeant major deposited them here, and now the male protects them day and night until they hatch. He will even bite divers who get too close. We make our way north along the reef. Soon we come to an even larger school of grunts than the previous one. They seem very relaxed and calm because nobody appears to be hunting them. I truly haven't seen schools of fish like this in a long time. It gives me great pleasure to learn that there are still wild places in the ocean that haven't been ravaged by overexploitation. Christine and I both get a huge thrill out of swimming through the fish. Not as predators, just companions in the sea. And the fish clearly don't see us as a threat. They give us an arm's length or so space, but they don't panic. They surround us as we swim into the school. But then something changes. The energy of the moment has shifted. A hunter has arrived. This one an alien from another world. Christine and I aren't the only birds in the water. It's a cormorant, a bird specially adapted for feeding on fish by diving to catch them. Down on the bottom, I quickly lose track of the cormorant and wait for it to swim by again. Then, when we least expect it, the bird appears out of the distance. Look, it's 3 birds in the water. And the fish know they need to respect this visitor from above. It swims with its webbed feet, keeping its small wings folded to reduce drag. And while this bird can fly when it needs to, it spends more time diving. Between dives, the cormorant rests and catches its breath. Then another gulp of air and back down into the depths. While cormorants have been observed more than 100 feet deep, today this bird is only diving to about 30 feet. This is the first time I've ever had a chance to observe a cormorant feeding up close. It's fascinating to watch. And I stay as long as I can before my tank gets low. That was awesome. We leave our little cormorant friend to the hunt while we pack up and head back to shore. Tonight we will get to know La Paz a little. La Paz is a nice town with plenty to see, but not too busy. There's a 3-mile-long malecón, a waterfront promenade for walking and relaxing, filled with statues celebrating the marine life and history of the area. A bike path winds along the malecón, past Jacques Cousteau himself. It's a wonderful place to contemplate the end of a perfect day of exploring the sea. The next morning, we're at it again, loading the boat for a trip to the sea lion colony.
Thank you. Nice and light.
It's about an hour from the dock to the sea lions, and we're in good hands with Captain Marco. The sea lions live at a place called Los Islotes, the Little Islands. Not much more than a few rock outcroppings poking above the surface. As we slowly idle along, we can see lots of sea lions sleeping on the rocks, as well as resting and playing in the water.
So we're here at Los Islotes, which is one of the most famous places in the world to swim with sea lions. And there's a lot of sea lions around, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna see a few. I'm excited, let's do it.
Christine and I suit up with Dive Master Chrissy right behind us. The moment we hit the water, sea lions come zooming over to investigate. The adults are resting, but the younger animals are playing. Just like people, the kids have boundless energy and enthusiasm. We watch 2 youngsters trying to grab each other's tails. Once they do, they seem to be stuck in an endless cycle of what to do next. When a third shows up, the possibilities are endless. Chrissy does this all the time, and she's used to the attention. She even allows the sea lions to nibble on her hands without gloves. They're so gentle, she has never been harmed. When they don't have people to play with, the sea lions find other toys. A sea star could be fun. But they're even careful with a sea star, not biting it hard enough to cause injury. It's challenging to be a filmmaker trying to capture natural animal behavior when the animals just want to play with us. And I'm pretty sure I'm not getting my fin back for a while. Soon, the sea lions have found something even more interesting than fins: cameras. Specifically, they seem to be fascinated with the lights. They like to curl up in our light arms. I'm pretty sure Christine would be happy to let this little cutie come home with us. It's easy to distinguish between male and female in adult sea lions, but the juveniles look nearly identical, so we have no idea if this is a male or a female. It doesn't take long for him or her to discover my camera. Meanwhile, a few adult females are floating around resting above us. One juvenile even takes a stab at nursing from his mother. I had no idea they would do this in the water. An adult male with his distinctive large forehead floats by, keeping an eye on me. You have to be careful around the adult males because they fiercely protect their harems of females from any perceived threat, including people. You can't have this many animals hanging around together for long before someone spoils the party with a poop. While I'm backing up to avoid the noxious cloud, a cleanup crew arrives. Guidebooks will tell you that yellowtail surgeonfish eat algae on the reef, but it appears they're opportunistic omnivores. One animal's poop is another animal's lunch. We watch a pair of juveniles zoom by and vanish into a dark area between the rocks. Chrissy knows where they're going and leads the way. I can't believe my good luck. Is this a cave? Sure enough, it's a tiny little sea cave that only goes back about 75 feet. Inside, there are cup corals on the rocks. And there's air above, so it's not a true overhead environment. The sea lions like to play in here. This guy's picking up tiny pebbles. Soon another animal swims in and a game of hide and seek begins. Back near the entrance, Christine is filming another sea lion looking for just the right-sized pebble to play with. And once she finds it, she has a trick. What a show-off! As a cave diver, it's hard to separate myself from the unlikely combination of a cave filled with playful sea lions, but eventually I can't ignore that I'm getting low on air and it's time to head back to the boat. Along the way, the rainbow wrasses have started spawning all around me. Usually, this sort of behavior happens closer to sunset, but I'm assuming they're just excited to be on Blue World. We get a few more friendly passes as the sea lions follow us back to the boat. So much fun. I got to combine cave diving and sea lions. I mean, come on. How great is that? We hate to depart Los Islotes, but this afternoon we have an appointment with a whale shark. Truly. To keep from having too many people bothering the sharks, they assign blocks of time to only a few boats, so it's not a free-for-all. We have to show up for our time slot. Along the way, Chrissy explains the rules and etiquette.
If we're lucky, we can find a whale shark that's eating. When they're eating,
And Christine brought the right shirt for the occasion. They also have a photo ID program where they identify individual sharks by their unique spot patterns.
that's a new one this year.
They have more than 1,000 whale sharks in the database. All encounters are done with a snorkel, and most of the animals seen here are smaller, younger ones. I asked the captain to find me a small one because this water is looking pretty green and murky. He maneuvers the boat near the shark, and we hop in. Once I hit the water, I can't see squat, so the captain has to tell us which way to swim. There's a dark spot in front of me, but I can't see it. Underwater, it's plankton soup. But eventually, a shadow becomes a giant polka-dotted fish. Most of the time, they just swim right on by. There's no way to keep up. So they come and pick us up again. It's really murky here. And the reason is because there's a lot of plankton. And that's why the whale sharks are here, because they're feeding on the plankton. And so, you know, you wish you could see a whale shark in clear water, but, you know, if there's clear water, there's
probably not whale sharks. So this is why they're here. So we'll put up with the plankton in order to get to see the big guy.
We get to do a few more jumps into the water over the next 2 hours, and eventually we get lucky with a pretty big shark going nice and slow. She's looking for a good patch of plankton. And when she finds it, she starts to gulp that plankton down. You can barely see the tiny copepods in the water, but she gulps them in with the water. The water goes back out through her gills, but the copepods, tiny crustaceans, get caught on strainers in her gills. So after gulping this plankton soup for a while, she swallows 10 or so pounds of copepods that collected on those strainers. It's hard to believe that the biggest fish in all of the world's oceans can survive on tiny animals the size of a grain of sand. After a week diving the Sea of Cortez from La Paz, this is one of my new favorite places. Where else can you see huge schools of fish, birds underwater, sea lions in caves, and whale sharks? It's a world-class dive destination full of adventures in the blue world. Hey everyone! We just released Call of the Dolphins, a new film for IMAX and giant screen theaters. Check the website to see if it's playing near you.